pretend that Brandon is there just washing you up. Welcome to another episode of Tales from the Void podcast. I bring you your glorious hosts.
I'm Sean.
I'm Josh.
I'm Mike.
Let's rock and roll.
And your butt is kind of like an about to explode bratwurst.
All right, so on today's episode, we're going to be talking about a few off-the-wall type of subjects, one of which is really something near and dear to all of our hearts, celebrities, or as Ali G calls them, cibrilities. So, celebrities are people too.
Well, even Ali G, who he's married to.
I can't believe it.
It just blows my mind how hot his wife is.
I don't know. He's a good-looking chap.
Who is it?
He's married to
Sacha Baron Cohen.
Isla Fisher.
He's married to Isla Fisher.
Oh,
Plus,
that's not that
You
crazy.
shut your fucking mouth. It's not.
Josh has higher expectations than most people.
Do I?
I think so. I think you got a really high Isla Fisher she's pretty nice.
Yeah.
That's not what my see. That's not what my comment means.
What does your
my
comment mean?
means is that those two being paired together isn't that strange.
But Isla Fisher is really nice, and
Yeah.
Sacha Baron Cohen is passable.
I mean,
yeah.
He also has lots of money.
nah.
Oh, the M word. Someone decided to say the M word tonight.
Well,
Well, they're people too, kind of.
but they're people too. Maybe they, maybe they click.
Anytime I come across somebody famous or I get right next to one, I go through like that
You get arrested.
I get that 7-year-old girl like fandom where I'm like, oh my god, it's like when we were at Henry Rollins. I was like, oh my god, it's Henry Rollins. Holy shit, it's Henry Rollins. Holy crap.
Oh.
And then we get like right by the stage. And I'm like, it's Henry Rollins.
You're the same size as everybody else, man.
Yeah, what the hell?
He is too, because I've actually met him. So he's barely taller than I am.
Wow. Well, I met Shania Twain at the Mall of America back in the early 2000s. She's like 2 feet tall. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had to reach down to shake her hand, but I didn't wash my hand for at least 2 hours, you guys.
You smelled it for a minute.
Smelled it.
Oh, yeah, that's funny. It smelled like the guy she shook hands with before me.
Oh,
That's what it smelled like.
Yeah.
So, and it was kind of wet. No offense, Shania, but your handshake was kind of cold, fishy. Anyway, I learned recently that Brad Pitt's first job was as a dancing chicken mascot for a fast food restaurant, which is kind of crazy. Think of Brad Pitt dancing in a chicken outfit.
I want to see that.
It's weird how many celebrities had like these off-the-wall jobs because you grow up watching them in movies and stuff, and you're like, oh, they took acting and they went to school to act, and they've just been acting their whole lives. Most of them worked regular jobs like that.
Yeah, like what's her face? Madonna used to work at a Dunkin' Donuts, and she got fired because she squeezed jelly out at a customer.
Yeah.
Well,
That'll set you on your path to stardom.
there's a lot that have started at, especially go the comedians route, man. They really started at rock bottom. A lot of them.
How dare you?
Well,
Of course they did. That's what happens when you're a comedian. You almost have to experience all the letdowns in life to have a perspective that other people don't share.
$1 to who can guess what what one of Rod Stewart's jobs was before he was a singer.
I'm gonna say janitor at a school.
I'm gonna say.
Come on, man. It's got to be janitor.
I'll
at a
even
school.
give you a hint. It's off the wall.
It's crazier than janitor at a school.
Yeah.
A car wash.
Gravedigger.
Wait, a
Gravedigger.
He's not a car wash
Why?
because he's a man. You see what I did there? I made it sound like you meant that Rod Stewart was a car wash. Although, if you look at his hair, he could pass as one of those things that scrub your car. So,
One more.
yes,
For
sure.
$2.
Uh-oh.
What was Matthew McConaughey's job? Oh my And this one's even more off the wall.
Hold on, I'm
than
gonna Google it.
Gravedigger.
I'm gonna Google it real quick.
Actually, I feel like I know this.
Can I phone a friend on this one?
Nope.
I feel like it has something to do with.
It's gotta be car wash. I'm gonna go with car wash.
No, I thought it had something to do with food.
Close.
Everything's close to food. Even the car wash. Find fries under the seat.
Ugh.
I remember in my detail days, I'd find like wrapped sandwiches and go,
Still
my
wrapped?
God.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris should have told you this story where our mutual friend Mike Young he just bought this Camaro, the black Camaro that he drives, and he brought like a ham and pastrami sandwich and went out to lunch with Chris and left his sandwich under his passenger seat for like weeks.
oh, no way.
So it started smelling like rotted flesh, and ended up, and Rory found that sandwich under the passenger seat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey was a chicken coop cleaner while living in
coop.
Australia.
All right, I didn't know he was from Australia.
Well, he went over there as a Rotary exchange student.
Ah, yes, the old Rotary Exchange. I have no idea what that is.
Something to do with telephones and...
He was flying the chicken coop.
Telephones. That was terrible. It was terrible enough to be good.
Right.
I'll give you a pass on that one.
You could have giggled a little.
But, so, that's on the timid end of the spectrum, the whole Brad Pitt dancing as a chicken.
Yeah.
Sean, you told me one the other day that blew my pants off.
Matthew Broderick murdered 2 people for the low price of $175.
It's just
I mean, that's a steal.
set the
Right?
stage on that one. What
Someone do the math. What is that per person? Is that like a discounted deal?
That's like $85 a person, right?
Yeah.
It's about it's probably like one of those. It's in like the 87 and change.
$87.50 each.
Yeah.
What? So set the stage.
Him and Jennifer Grey were together at one time during Ferris Bueller, and they were overseas in Europe
Bueller.
driving.
He knew he was going to do
Who the
that.
hell was that? Ben Stein.
You could
Anyways,
win
they were
his
driving
money.
around in Europe, and he was just blasted. He may have even been high on some pills or something. Anyway, he hits this car and kills a woman and her
Head
mother.
on, right?
Yeah. So there was going to be a big investigation. There was going to be a trial. He was set to go to prison. But because he played the I don't remember defense, it got pleaded down to like involuntary manslaughter and paid a $175 fine.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's actually like the most unbelievable thing about celebrities. I guess it's more how much shit they actually get away with, more or less, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm not mad about it if you actually didn't remember, but come on, man.
Yeah.
And then he paid you back with Godzilla.
Come to find out, he was actually supposed to talk to the son/brother of the people that he killed.
Oh.
He murdered.
Yeah, in 2003. The guy had made plans. They were supposed to meet up. Never happened. To this day, that meet has still never happened.
Broderick, you're a giant douche. And if you ever listen to this podcast, which I think you might at some point, because I'm going to hashtag the shit out of it, and I'm going to put Broderick in the hashtag. Broderick's a murderer. $175, bro? Come on. Seriously? $87.50 a person? I mean, I pay more for insurance a month. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And that's to keep you alive.
Yeah. I mean, goddamn. Okay. So there's Matthew Broderick driving along in his BMW and cleans people out head on. Gets off pretty much. I mean, he probably just gave him whatever he had in his pocket.
Right.
They were probably like, oh, you have 175. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. It was in Ireland, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. Crazy.
It was in Ireland?
It was in Ireland.
Well,
Yeah, so it was a lady and her daughter or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Imagine that. You're on your way home and the guy who shot the movie Election kills you. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Just
I mean, I didn't want to
classics.
I didn't want to nail on Godzilla again. That's been done too many times, but
What is Matthew Broderick doing killing people in Ireland?
well,
Well, then the worst part of it is he trades in Jennifer Grey for Sarah Jessica Parker.
Squeaks?
no.
Yeah.
Squeaks herself?
Squeaks herself.
What the hell is Squeaks? What's Squeaks mean?
In the movie Failure to Launch,
Okay.
she just makes tons of squeaky noises.
All right, yeah. So that's different than the neigh neigh sounds she usually makes as a horse.
Correct.
Okay.
After she eats hay.
Because she was Seabiscuit. I believe they gave her credit for that in the movie.
Wow.
Josh, you said you have a complicated list of
Not really.
favorite nude celebrities.
Not quite.
Okay.
Justin Verlander.
Okay. Yeah, that's the ladies. He's got a great ass.
My God.
I'm sorry.
He was better looking than his
Kim
girlfriend.
Kardashian,
Yeah.
dude. Kim Kardashian. She took that selfie of her own buttocks.
Selfie.
That thing, first of all, okay, fine, whatever. I know you can hide a body back there, but Verlander, Jesus.
Did you see all the fun things they were doing with that butt picture? They were taping it up to Keurigs.
Oh,
And then running the coffee. So it
oh
looked
my
like she had
God.
diarrhea.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's
oh, wow.
disgusting.
That's
And the sound those things make too.
yeah. Yeah. Yep.
It's terrible. It doesn't make that aggressive. But
Well, no, it is that bad. Anytime I hear a Keurig, I'm like, excuse you, because it's terrible. It sounds like flatulence. Anyway, your list of celebrity nudes, Josh.
Yeah, mine's not that. Mine's just more of something I didn't know. It's not no Broderick over here. Jeez.
He's a fucking murderer, dude.
Okay, so apparently, and I just learned of this. I just learned this fairly recently, but after Kurt Cobain committed suicide,
thankfully,
the president at the time,
Lyndon B. Johnson. Who was
George
the
Bush.
It was George Bush, right?
Bill Clinton,
Oh.
actually went to Eddie Vedder and called Eddie Vedder to get his advice on whether or not he should make a special address to the nation about it. And,
Dang.
I guess Eddie expressed concern that there might be copycat suicides, so he ultimately decided to not make a national address over it.
So mid-90s?
Mid-90s.
So mid-90s.
94.
So mid-90s, Eddie Vedder found time to put the donut down and talk to the president of the United States.
He did.
Okay.
He put the needle and the donut down.
Because let's be honest, there's a lot of donuts.
Eddie Vedder, if you're listening, email us at Tales from the Void Podcast.
We're getting you. We're getting you. We're getting you, Broderick. We're getting you,
I
Ed.
swear to God, I'm going to start a campaign against Broderick. But anyway, that's pretty nuts that he would call a subrility and get advice on whether he should address the nation.
I get the feeling he just kind of wanted to.
He wanted to be in,
He just wanted to. That's a little bit of abuse of power, probably. Get Eddie on the phone.
for 3 years, he's been wanting to talk to Vedder, and he found
Yeah.
an in. Finally, Clinton's like, all right.
I'm not just in Arkansas now. I'm the damn president.
Now-
Get him on the phone.
And back then, I mean, you couldn't really text message or anything. You had to call somebody,
Even
right?
even
you could
email
text.
even email was probably a little bit much.
Right. It was
Back
still in its
90.
infancy.
Back in '94. Not too many emails flying out.
Not too many emails.
You
I think
had,
I think Reagan never sent an email. Do
Yeah,
you
you
think
had to-
Reagan ever used the internet?
You were probably lucky if you had a cordless phone in '94.
Yeah, because even the cell phones were in bags.
You try going down to the basement, still talking to somebody, and you get.
Yeah, yeah. And you got to pull the antenna out 4 feet. That's the antenna you used to whip your siblings with.
God, my mom had a bag phone for her van, and you used to have to stick the antenna on the roof, but it had to be placed just right. So anytime she'd go to place it, she'd have to hang out of the van and sit on the door and then place it.
Yeah.
And our garage wasn't tall enough to fit the van with the antenna on there, so you had to stop, get out, pull it down, and then drive in.
Just the work.
Just a menagerie.
Just a menage a trois.
So that's mine.
Well, excellent. Well, I have one more, if you care to hear it.
Fire away. I'm curious.
It's about Simon Cowell.
Okay, skip
Love
it.
it.
Actually, it's really fun.
No, yeah,
it's
go
a
ahead.
fun fact.
He's like the Steve Jobs of England.
Simon Cowell. He polished the axe on the set The Shining for Jack Nicholson. He was a runner on that movie.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Nice.
Those were his small beginnings.
Those were his small beginnings.
Crazy.
As a gopher, basically.
As a gopher.
I think some people got their start that way. I mean, obviously, Harrison Ford was a carpenter for...
I mean, that's not too. I mean, you'd probably rather shine an axe than be the coffee runner, right?
I think he was a coffee runner, too. I think he shined the axe and brought in a decaf with...
I changed my mind. Yeah, I'd want to be the coffee runner.
Yeah, because
then I get
axes anymore?
Then I get to pick on which one I'm sticking my tongue in, which one.
That's why you don't get hired as a runner.
Which one I'm gonna stir with my finger.
I mean, you're a runner, but no one has asked you to go. And that's why I ask for just hot water from you guys, because let's be honest, I can see
if a finger went in there, you're gonna know.
I'm gonna see some floaties. It's gonna be real interesting. So, celebrity faux pas. You have Jenny McCarthy. She with her whole vaccination causes autism thing. So that's a celebrity again that we found out something about later on. But she used social media in a way, I think, at the time to drive this kind of movement, right?
Hysteria?
I wouldn't even call it hysteria. I would say I think she found something to latch onto, and like most celebrities do, she latched onto it, and it became a launch point for her ideas.
Didn't she end up backpedaling on the whole thing?
I think the doctor came out and said like her son doesn't even have autism. So I think like she like blatantly lied about it. I don't know the whole story there, but I will say this.
I didn't really kept up with that either.
Well, as far as like social networking or social media etiquette, I mean, you can start a movement on social media. You can end a movement on social media. You could be the jerk or the guy who tries to lift people up. But it's like the wild, wild west. And I think I like it that way. Do you guys like it open and free the way it is? I mean, it's self-policing in a lot of ways.
I'll make a point as to like how social media has actually ruined somebody, and that was the guy who did the Coney 2012 campaign.
That wasn't that bullshit too?
Well,
the guy had already been caught and all.
Yeah,
that
the footage was like 5 years old.
Yeah, so it was like 2012 was. It's already gone. It's already done, and it raised all this money and shit, right?
Yep.
Fuck.
Yeah, but he got so fizzed out from all the attention and the popularity and stuff of it, he snapped mentally. There's pictures and photos and video of him in California.
Was he eating shit or something?
No, he was just naked, screaming obscenities.
Oh, that's the guy. They saw him. He was in the middle of the street, like breaking people's windshields and shit, like absolutely nude. And he was like throwing feces or something.
Maybe that was just his Tuesday nights.
Listen, nobody spends theirs Tuesday nights. Friday night, fine, but Tuesday, never.
Maybe he spent some Tuesday nights with a rum ham and got a little.
Wow, I don't even know what a rum ham is.
It should have been you.
Sure, you do.
Okay, I don't know what a rum ham is.
You've seen the Jersey Shore episode.
To answer,
I will never. There aren't very many certainties in life.
I will never.
I have never been accused of such ridiculousness. But
to answer your question real quick,
yeah,
if I can jump in. No, I like it that way. I like it being like the wild, wild west. I think honestly the post, if you let something get to you, you let something bother you.
It's on you.
Exactly, but the one I would say that does occasionally get to me, that I do feel like occasionally I want to jump in and I want to attack. I never do, but the one that makes me want to do it is the one where people are posting and attacking other people's posts. It's like,
yeah,
it's kind of the
phishing,
point. It's like
trolling.
Yeah, it's like,
they have names
you know,
for it.
Oh, you guys that just post and change your picture all the time and you do this all the time. It's kind of like
a drag.
That's the point. Like,
It's
let them use it for whatever they want to use it for. Like, who cares? If you don't want to look at their stuff, guess what? You don't have to.
Exactly. And it's such a good point that I wanted to keep jumping in and jumping all over you.
Yeah.
I meant like vocally. But no, it is one of those things where somebody will complain about social media while being on social media. Isn't there there isn't, or there doesn't exist this thing where it's called social media and you don't have to be social. Like, just by accident of you being on Facebook, for instance, you're going to see people change their profile pictures. You're going to see people complain. You're going to see people ask for medical advice for their dying child. You're going to see that. It's hilarious because you look at some posts and you're like, oh, that one person who's perpetually saying like they have haters but no one hates them. It's like they've fictitiously made up this thing.
All my haters can leave. Okay.
Yeah, and no,
you know,
or I've just now cleaned out my friends list people as well.
Yeah,
hey, I see that stuff and I kind of give myself a little bit of a chuckle because in the end, why are we taking ourselves so damn seriously?
You know, I must have a pretty decent. Either I'm getting extremely lucky with the times that I do pick to look at my Facebook feed, or I just actually have a nice clean list of friends on there, because I'll see posts of like by more than one person, you know, of like something that maybe was like trending for like the day or the week, and people are just kind of like, okay, enough of these posts or pictures or whatever I've seen. And like I haven't seen one. The only thing I've seen is actually you complaining about it.
That's exactly it. So there's someone perpetually, you know, people get excited about stuff. Okay, so the whole point of social media, again, is to be social. So you'll hop on there, you'll be like, oh, The Walking Dead's on tonight, or some similar show that you like.
Right.
And someone will inevitably put a post where it says, oh, Everyone's, or there must be some show about zombies on TV.
Yeah.
Like, why are you pissing on everybody's party? You know what I'm saying? You're that guy. Like, you already know all there is that you need to know about that individual. You know what I'm saying? There's the other side of that, where there are people who, I don't want to call them creepers. What kind of creepers?
You know, I was gonna bring up the weird voyeuristic aspect to Facebook. We're taking a time out. Fire away.
I just wanted to point out that I love the people that complain about getting invites to games. First of all, there's a very good chance whoever did the invite just clicked select all and then sent the message.
Because you get credits for doing that.
It's not like they went, oh, Michael, how
dare you? I don't want your fucking game invite.
This guy wants to play some Roman City Explosions. Send.
Roman City Explosion. I kind of want to play that game. Yeah, and you can go into, if you hop on your PC, you can go into your games tab and just click, I don't want to see any more notifications for this game.
Yeah.
But right above it says block user or whatever. You don't want to block your friends just because they wanted 5 coins so they can get to the next level. But anyway, that's what I mean by self-policing. So people will hop online, see that stuff, and you'll have the 1 out of 10 people who are like negative Nancy's, but that's totally fine. It's part of the balance. So we accept that as part of the balance, but it's like we get to sit back and think, well, it's social media. What do you expect? And they get to sit there and be aggravated at the daily posts when they're part of the whole. You are the traffic, as Sean pointed out before.
Right.
You are the traffic.
That's not the stuff that I like. That's not the stuff that I enjoy, obviously. But I believe I said it recently, in a show, was like, I'm not going to be the person that points out and gets upset with people for how they're using it. It's theirs. Let them post whatever they want. Even if it's something I completely dislike or disagree with. Okay.
Even if it's just a huge fucking bummer. But that's the point of it, that it's someone's kind of, you see people vent on both sides of the fence. You see people vent in the negative and you see people vent in the positive and try to that's the balance of it. So that's why it's so great. But if you see someone usually stepping out of line in some way, most people are quick to nudge them back. Like Sean is a huge fan of the crotch pounders over at Reddit.
Love them.
And you'll
Pound my crotch with them.
You'll see posts that are like supposed to be taken seriously because someone really wants advice on any number of things. Right. And Reddit will just tear that person down.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Like that to me is
gold.
See,
and that's
I like it for comedy.
And that's why they put serious tags on there.
Exactly.
Now.
So you have, if you're going to do it and you're going to ask a question, you have to tag it serious on Reddit. But even Facebook, in a way, people will ask a serious question and, again, inevitably, someone's going to take a shot. I find the balance very, very intriguing online and in social media. But the other problem with it, and as I mentioned before, the whole Jenny McCarthy piece, being bombarded by these news feeds that you have, most recent or top stories, so you let it pick it for you, and you're like, this is not a top story for me. But reading the news feed, scrolling down the news feed, all of a sudden you start seeing certain trends, and you mentioned trends, Josh.
Right.
You start seeing people fall in line. That's the scary part to me, is that independent thought, that standout thought, that independence, a per person independence. You start seeing this sheep-like mentality almost. So the whole push was Jenny McCarthy, don't vaccinate your kids. It gives you autism or whatever. And then now the pushback the other way. Now everyone's like, oh, I was over here, but now I'm over here. It's like this huge, like birds when they do that murmuration, they fly together in like certain patterns.
Right.
It feels like that's what, when you read your news feed, it feels like people are going from subject to subject together almost. Like
there's a lot of that.
Media has a lot to do with writing its own stories, and it has a lot to do with perpetuating racial tension, perpetuating war, perpetuating all kinds of problems. Media is a huge player in that game. They're writing their own news. They're writing about it and reporting the aftermath of them reporting it in the first place. So when you get that kind of thing pumped into a social networking site or social media, people tend to flow from one side to the other of that.
When did Facebook become the be-all, end-all of true stories?
when it was founded in 1973.
My sister-in-law especially reads these like do-it-yourself at home tricks that are like, oh, if you rub baking soda on your dog's face, you can get the stains off your walls.
Well, that's
and
just
she's like,
obvious.
well, we're gonna start baking soda on the dogs now.
Well, and that's the thing. So you're not supposed to at any point just believe outright, right?
Correct.
Whether it's online or not, you're supposed to test it. You're supposed to use the scientific method.
Do your own research.
Do your own research. So don't take from one source. That's what bothers me about, again, news outlets. They all have agendas. So it starts to seem like you start to see who falls under what column in under what agenda, right? Like sheep being corralled in one pen or another. It's where the independent thinkers, the ones that are out on the edges, like trying to look at things objectively.
Well,
might as well wait that out because that's coming here. What up, fire department? Oh, I made a gun sign at them. That's probably not a good idea. Don't shoot guns at the ambulance. Okay, sorry, Josh.
Well, I was just gonna jump into like all the stuff that you're pointing out with like the trending and all the stuff that you're kind of seeing like with all of that. That's kind of why I choose to, not the sole reason why, but it helps. Like that's kind of why like I choose, what I use it for is to just share the things that like I like, share the things that like I love, which are mostly going to be like, things of positivity usually. So if people like that, that's something they want to see, something they want to read, something they want to check out, that's cool. But like, it's just stuff that like I like. I thought that was cool. I thought this was uplifting. I thought this was funny, things like that.
Yeah, and that's a great idea because at the end of the day, when you check out of this life, you want to feel like you brought everyone up to the highest common denominator, not the low.
Yeah.
You want to be on the end or the right side of lifting up others. So
yeah, I'd rather share the things that are more upbeat rather than finding stuff to complain about.
I agree, but I do get bothered by the people getting herded into these thought corrals. That's probably the only problem I have with any social media. But you know what? I feel like that happens on any side at any time for any reason. So even you get herded into a positive thought corral. I mean, but it depends on where you want to spend your time. So I do see, and going back to people posting about, being aggravated at certain things that people do on social media. Like if you have someone who bothers you, not because they're actually writing things and doing it to spite you. If someone bothers you on your social media, just take them off your friends list. Just take them off your friends list. Why do you have them? Why do you have someone in your life that makes you gnash your teeth every time you look? And the worst offenders, hate to say this, girls, but ladies, women, worst offenders are obviously going to be those who like to sit around and look at their enemies and what their enemies are doing. I feel like that's a waste of energy, and I really do. I think you could spend that time building, your sphere of influence. You can spend that time building yourself and your family. Screw it. If somebody bothers you on the internet, somebody bothers you on your social media, take them off. And guess what? If you're bothered by everything, take yourself off.
Yep.
Just that simple.
It is that simple.
It is.
I don't know that I've gotten like no wait, I did get a random friend request before.
How do you handle that situation?
And because it gives you that, it'll tell you who your mutual friends are and all that kind of thing before. I had to ask the person that they were friends with. I was just kind of like, who is this person? And
yeah.
It was somebody I've met maybe once in my life, and it was like back in like high school era, so I really didn't remember them at all. But
do you really go that far as to investigate how you know this person possibly?
I was curious. It was a simple text. It took 45 seconds to find out.
I'm gonna say yeah, because you know what, it's a real tricky situation, allowing someone you have no idea onto your... Doesn't it feel like you let them in your house or something? So you almost want to... It's less that they are friends with mutual friends or whatever, because that's fine. But if you were going to say, do you have any rules for accepting friend requests or any rules for social media overall, it's going to be that I have to have met the person in person. Does that sound weird? Like that's I
don't know.
I feel
Yeah,
like that's my rule. I have some friends on my friends list that I haven't physically met before, but I think I try to generally keep it that way.
I don't know that I do. I don't know that I have anyone on my friends list that I've never met.
I mean, like
There might
physically
be.
met, but you have like 15 mutual friends, and you're like,
Yeah.
I've talked to this person, but I've not spent any kind of time with them.
There might be. I'd have to go back and look, but then I might see. Oh, okay, yep. I've got some people that were added way back in the day that I've never even met. But I'm not. No, I'm not picky. If I get friend requests from people, I'm not. Whatever. I'll add people if they friend request me. I do feel weird when I add people because, like you, having met them in person is a thing, and I even feel weird. It's not a big deal. It's just social media, but I still feel awkward if you only met them like one time or maybe twice, and you just kind of casually know them.
That is my cutoff point. If I've met you once and talked to you for 4 seconds, you're probably my Facebook friend already.
You're probably my best friend.
Sean, you meet Sean, and he's like, "How do you spell your last name again?"
Yeah. And you know what's funny about that whole thing is that you go through the same phases you'd go through with a friendship in a way. You start liking their photos, commenting on their posts, and the relationship dies down after a time. And then you revisit later on. You're like, oh, I forgot to like this post. And actually, all of a sudden you start trading likes and comments again. It's fun.
Becomes a battle.
I get to call you out on that because actually we were Facebook friends before we ever met.
Yeah, we were.
Because we both just
shredded. Keep our hands off each other digitally.
we both just, we kind of attacked John a little bit.
Sloviak?
Back in the day, yeah.
Yeah, but
it was fun. It was all in good fun.
He deserves, like, every attack.
It was fun.
It was so much fun. He was having fun.
John, if I could hit you in the crotch right now and tell you how much I care about you, I'd do it with a baseball bat.
It was a good time.
That's how much I care about you.
My best friend in high school became my best friend because we were at a pool party one time, and I asked him for his email address. We were in the pool and we were hanging out, and I'm like, hey, man, can I have your email address? I'll add you to MSN.
Hold on, I got to write this down. Especially back then, you were like, there were so many email providers. You're like, oh, did you say AOL? Oh, Yahoo? Okay, Yahoo.
103 underscore.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone already, like, took your name for whatever reason. How is there another Sean Walford out there?
Right. I had to go through, like, 12 people to
like,
get
your
Sean
email
Walford.
right now is, like,
my
your
first
name and
last name, year I was born.
And the year, yeah. You can't get your name anymore. It's gone.
I wonder how many people out there actually use the email addresses they set up in like 6th grade as professional ones, like Fat Boy Stoner 69.
Or like mine was a mesh of 2 different anime characters. So, because I used to watch anime like crazy. I still would right now if Josh didn't give me that look all the time. But
I like anime, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I had a Hotmail account. How's that hit you? Old, right?
Yeah.
No one has a Hotmail account anymore.
They
switched it over to Outlook.
It's Outlook now.
It's really?
Yeah.
So if you had an Hotmail address, they flipped it to Outlook.
And I can still sign into it, right?
Yeah.
I have Outlook.
Dude, I probably have so many penis enlargement emails in there.
Okay.
I'm telling you what, I'm going to be able to touch the moon.
We got your request.
Yeah.
Do you guys think it's I know we're talking a lot of, I know we're all on Reddit, and I mean, I'm on Twitter quite a bit too, which, speaking of just viewing your page, your feed,
yeah,
I do like Twitter in that it's just straight up chronological.
Yes. And there's no other way to look at it.
Yeah.
The only other way to look at it is to go into someone's feed specifically.
Right. And just scroll through their tweets and all that.
This is what I want out of social media is chronological order, because I'll have looked at something, say I look at something today at 7 p.m. And I don't look again until midnight. I can scroll down through all the news stories until I hit 7 p.m. again. Then I know I've already seen everything else.
And it likes to blow your stuff up with like recent likes too.
Or
like
comments.
If you go in and you hit things where like you like a new product or a new musician, the next time that like you'll go in, your whole
It's like,
feed is
boom.
all the last like two. It'll be like from 2 days
Eddie
ago, but
Vedder
you're still
buys
getting
boat.
it.
You know, you're getting
That
news
stuff
stories.
I don't mind. That's good. That's,
That's
good. That's good stuff.
Sonic highways explode with gladness. There are a couple things that bother me not about the social media, but about the implementation. So exactly that I'd like it in chronological order, and I shouldn't have to like constantly go in there and change it. I think there should just be a setting that you like, and plus, what's top stories really do? It's just molding the things you look at. I don't want you to choose those things for me. Plus, if you haven't interacted with a friend for quite some time, they just don't show you their things anymore.
Right.
Which kind of bothers me because I'd like to like all kinds of things. I like a lot of things that my friends put out. But increasingly these days, they just don't give me those stories anymore. I have to physically go to the person's page and look at it. And that feels like an extra step that you shouldn't have to do.
And I used to do that from time to time when I just be like, I haven't seen anything from them. I'm bored at work. I'll check in on them.
I thought one of my friends were dead because they hadn't posted in like 3 weeks. And then I went to their page and I was like, they were posting every day for 3 weeks and it just didn't show it to me. I thought they died.
So
I was sad. But I didn't call or anything either. So what does that make me?
yeah, you were posting. You're okay.
Oh, okay.
You're okay.
Yeah.
So speaking of friends, and then how about friends of friends? This thing that Facebook does, where you do get this peek into other people's stuff that you don't know who they are, but one of your friends may have commented on their thing, and it lets you see it.
That I
find that incredibly weird.
And it's to me, it feels intrusive in a way because I feel like that's a conversation I'm having with the person
right
on their page or whatever. But this is the price that's gonna be paid. This is the sacrifice made to the social media god, is that you're giving up any kind of like, oh, I hope no one sees that I like this page. I hope no one sees that I like the page called archaeology because I like archaeology. But as soon as you click like, everyone knows.
Yeah.
So yeah, your interactions with other people's pages as well, other people's walls. I mean, if you share something, if I share something with someone you're not friends with, it's gonna show it to you because it's the whole friends of friends thing. But that's the price that's paid, is that you get this little bit. You have to pay for that. You get intruded on in a way. I don't know. Sometimes it's worth it, I think, and sometimes it's not. Sometimes I think it's too much to give that much information out.
It's cool to keep it at a real base level.
But this is the other thing. I've never gained anything from seeing what other people post on other people's stuff. Yeah. It's not like I saw a story that I wouldn't have normally seen, because the whole thing's just blown wide open anyway. So I'm not losing anything by not seeing it. I'd almost rather not see it at that point. It feels like an extra step. So that's what I think about friends of friends.
That's what I think about you, friends of friends.
That's what I think about you.
That's going to be like the sequel to they're going to do a Friends show, and it's going to be called Friends of Friends.
And it'll only be like Joey.
He's got a TV show right now.
What?
We tried Joey already. It didn't work out.
There's a Joey show?
It was on for a surprising number of seasons too.
Well, there was a Joey show, but I meant like currently he's on a
episodes?
show. Yeah, episodes. But
none of us said anything about Joey. Could we find a fun fact about Joey?
Joey Tribbiani? That Joey?
The guy with
his real name?
Italian looking fella?
Yeah.
Matt LeBlanc.
We want
Hey, I bet you he danced in front of a Cash for Gold store. I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know that for sure.
I was like, that's pretty specific. Mike must know something we don't.
So while Sean looks that up, what?
Well, and it's kind of random that you're just picking
Matt LeBlanc.
Joey.
You said Joey.
Joey Tribbiani.
No, I said Joey. Yeah, I think Joanna has a crush on Joey.
I could see that.
I think she thinks he's cute or somebody.
Oh, I'm gonna go to Angel Fire.
Oh no!
Oh my god, dude! Is there such a thing anymore?
Interesting facts.
Interesting facts.
No, this is about friends.
So while Sean looks that up, say you have a mutual friend, a stranger you've never met before, but they're friends with like 45 of your friends.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, shouldn't you kind of know that person?
Hey man, I feel like we're close enough at this point.
Yeah, like feeling like, are they keeping them away from me? But what's funny
I
is
have quite a few friends that are like that, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Joanna, hilariously, I mean, I don't know. It may have been a week after getting Facebook. Just invited herself to all of my friends she's never met before. She friend requested everybody. Now Joanna and I have 190 mutual friends. Now Joanna, mind you, she met a lot of people, but not all my high school people, not all the people I went to elementary school with.
Did she?
She just did it. My
just did
entire
it.
friends
She didn't.
list.
She didn't ask. She didn't let you know in advance. She was just kind of like, boop.
No, all of a sudden I started seeing people
Joanna's
like,
now friends
oh,
with.
Joanna, that's so nice, whatever. Yeah, Joanna's now friends with 85 of your friends, and I'm like, at first I was like, damn, she totally just trolled my friends list for friends.
How long were you guys together by that point?
10 years.
A day.
No, Joanna and I have been together for a really long time.
I just mean, so yeah, it wasn't one
at
of those
that
things
point-
where
at
you were
that
together
point-
for like 3 months, and she's just like, I got you, mother.
Yeah, I'd see who you texting. No, she just went through the list, and that's at the end I was like really aggravated by it because I was like, these people don't know who you are. This is a direct reflection on my irresponsibility as a human being. But really,
that's actually kind of cute.
Pardon me?
That's actually kind of cute.
He's hitting on your wife, dude.
I just picked my nose. What? You thought that was kind of cute?
Yeah.
You mean what Joanna did?
Yeah.
Was kinda, it's a Joanna move. There's a name for things like that. That is a Joanna move.
Well, she stopped all that now because
She doesn't need to. Anytime I
She
get a
has
new
all the
friend,
friends,
yeah, we didn't become Facebook buddies until after we met in person, I think.
yeah, and she
That's after
tells
that.
me daily how she regrets it.
Oh man.
I'm kidding. She likes your face.
I have 2 facts.
Oh, dude, drop them on us like it's hot.
This is
All
again,
right.
we're going back to Joey Tribbiani.
Matt LeBlanc's.
When Matt LeBlanc auditioned for the role of Friends, he only had $11 to his name. When the cast got their paychecks, the first thing Courtney Cox bought was a car. Matt LeBlanc bought a hot dinner. And then the second one...
Okay. Can we examine it? So, Courtney Cox takes her money and buys a conveyance for herself to take her from point A to point B. It's an intelligent move.
Correct.
LeBlanc
Yep.
buys something he's going to shit out in 7 hours. And plus, if we were to... That's saying it like equal trade. Did he buy a $30,000 dinner?
Why would you say it's
This
equal
isn't.
trade?
I was going to say this isn't like this is what he spent.
yeah.
This
The
was
first thing he bought was
first.
a hot
There
dinner.
you go.
Yeah.
It was just
It was
the first thing he did. Come on,
It's not
people
like they
do
went
that.
to London Chop House and bought a $40,000 steak.
You know. It'd be like the same thing. It's just kind of like
I'd buy a $40,000 steak
Yeah,
on
if I ever-
wheels called a Maserati steak.
you have a
okay?
long day or whatever, and you're just
Yeah.
kind of like, man, the first thing I'm gonna do is that was
Beat
it.
my wife.
It was just the first.
You're going to go home and smack her around a little bit.
Oh my God.
Then you're going to have your kid make you a sandwich.
And that's why
And-
Sean isn't present.
I was just gonna say, ladies, Sean is single.
What's fact number 2? Is it
He auditioned for the role of Rachel, but they didn't want him on there because he had too much penis.
is this real?
Yeah. In the one
It
of
is
the,
not. It's some kid's blog from
No.
1999.
No.
Because he
Shut-
said Angel Fire.
Shut your tits. Both of you shut your tits. In the
Shit's
the
closed.
Friends DVD set, they do like little interviews with all the characters, and he says, I originally auditioned for Rachel, but they thought, nah, too much penis.
See, and that's a Joey thing to say. So I've seen 3 episodes of Friends, and it's too much.
No,
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
Unbelievable, you guys.
Come on, let's fake high five.
They slapped meat, and all was well.
All was wet, I think you mean.
All was quit. All right, so do you guys think superhero capes are overdone?
Not yet.
When
Do you-
they put collars on them, yes.
Come on, Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it's
He's a
fucking
wizard, God damn it.
How the hell your peripherals are done?
He doesn't need peripherals. He's magic.
I was waiting for your wizard line.
I swear to God, I feel like I was 7 years old saying that right there. But yeah, capes overdone.
I don't know, like, I like the cape in the Batman animated series
Oh yeah,
because it like somehow shrouded him, but it was still small enough for him to run away and not trip all over it.
ridiculous. Yeah,
So-
the guy can't backpedal. If you ever
Yeah.
pay attention to like the Joker punching him and he falls backwards,
He
the
trips on his
cape's
skate.
like the cape's like down
his
to the back of
calves.
his knees.
Yeah.
and it's short, but somehow in the animation, it's like hitting Robin in the face.
Yeah, and when he stands there, it like covers his feet and it pillows out, and it's got points on it.
I think you're right. If it's a mighty morphing power cape ranger, then I'll throw it on my back. It could be the
cape from Spawn. That was another one I really liked.
Spawn was sweet.
Capes.
See, but that was smartly done by McFarlane. He made that cape fully functional, and the chains too.
It was probably the only good part of the actual movie too.
No, the good part of that movie was the credits. It really was. That was a terrible, and that's really what we want to get to. The meat and potatoes of the whole deal is
Spawn.
Spawn. Let's talk about Spawn. We got 35 minutes.
Such a letdown.
It was such a letdown, and that's one of those movies that was like Catwoman. You know, I didn't walk in thinking Halle Berry's going to blow me away, but God damn it, try.
There's the difference. Is I didn't walk in at all.
I didn't. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to lead you astray. I just recently watched the movie. So I didn't walk in anywhere. I just...
Even going in knowing it's a piece of garbage, it still doesn't prepare you for how much of a piece of garbage it actually is.
Did you ever get let down by a superhero movie that you had high hopes for? And I know it wasn't Catwoman, but did you have high hopes for a heroic tale that got spun stupidly? I could tell you one right now if you want.
Go.
Hercules.
The one with the rock?
With the rock.
That's not really a superhero.
It was like the first superhero. Are you serious? Hercules, the indestructible man?
Greek mythology? That's not... We're talking like comic book superhero, man.
Hercules was a comic book superhero.
Well, that's true.
He was. Yeah, and he was a Disney movie.
But he wasn't one of the first.
He was one of the first.
But this was not based on the comic book. Either way, the movie was a piece of shit. I'll agree with you.
And I'd like to wrap Godzilla in there as well.
Aww.
I know he doesn't have a cape, but still.
Only the Matthew Broderick Godzilla.
No, this past one.
That one was better.
Every 10 seconds after a fight, he would pass out. Like, get out of it. Just stop it.
Dude.
Just stop it.
Big lizards need naps.
That was ridiculous. He would beat the thing and he'd be like, whoa! Just tip over and knock over a building and kill 500,000 people. It was the worst thing I'd ever seen.
Imagine if he had sex. He'd just pass out in the middle and imagine at the end.
Yeah, if he has a sonic scream, imagine the other thing. So,
jeez.
Inversely.
Yeah.
What? Did you have one?
Jonah Hex.
I didn't even see that, but Megan Fox was in that too, right?
Mine is
she's
John
a brilliant
Malkovich.
actress.
I forgot he was in Fassbender.
Michael Fassbender.
As far as being like, really let down, mine's pretty unpopular.
Is it Doom?
Fantastic Four.
Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah, but I've heard that tale woven before. I've heard that people didn't like it.
I didn't like it.
Was it the length and the fact that it could have ended about 18 times? Did Nolan go too far?
It was, it was a lot. Like, I felt like it was just a bad script, bad villain, slow pace, predictable plot, terrible plot, and using the ticking time bomb. Not enough Batman in the movie. It just didn't do anything for me.
Yeah, they could have
especially ending the trilogy.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that especially because it was the end of a tale, like you kind of went out like a wet fart.
Yeah, it was disappointing because I absolutely love Nolan.
Nolan is a wonder house of like making great films. I think he's like a classic filmmaker.
Yeah,
but it felt too long for a Nolan movie in a way. No, Nolan movies run long. Yeah. This one felt long.
I was like,
right. I would agree with that.
Because if you see, Interstellar didn't feel long except the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, the last 10 minutes you were like, I'm glad that these things are working out.
Because you were just emotionally drained.
Drained at that point. You want to check out. And also, what was the other one? Inception didn't feel long. I was bought into that movie. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit. You know, every time something happened, it kept my focus.
Yeah. Where were we?
So, as far as worst movies go, Sean, Jonah Hex.
Batman and Robin.
Yeah. Val Kilmer.
I think you just count all of those by default.
That was George Clooney.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know, though, man. Because... Yeah, you're right. Because, I mean, I just remember...
do we really need to point those out?
Listen, the moment Burger King or McDonald's back a movie, get out. You know what I'm saying? Like, as soon as they release toy lines,
Burger King backed Iron Man.
That's true. And Iron Man was good.
Yeah.
Iron Man was really good.
Iron Man was real. But you know who made that fucking movie?
Jeff Bridges.
Robert Downey.
Robert Downey Jr. That guy
Yeah.
made
Junior.
Iron Man. I think we talked about it before, but Iron Man was one of those films where you had high hopes, and it took your hopes and bought it a house and a car and retired. You know, it was great.
And it gave you a slap on the ass on the way out of the theater.
Just like you're a waitress. You know.
He's the tip.
But here's the tip. What surprised me is Guardians of the Galaxy. Let me rephrase that. So prior to the movie coming out, again, you had news coming through, and people were like, "Oh, the raccoon's gonna look dumb." It's like, weren't there like a significant number of powerhouses who were kind of toying with this movie in the background? Wasn't Whedon at one point as well, kind of playing with it a little bit?
Well, they might
around?
have a little bit, just to make sure that what they were doing with Guardians was going to line up with what Whedon was doing with like Avengers and the rest of their, movies that are going to line up. They want to make sure that it all ties in. So
I want to be
everyone probably chimed in a bit.
I want to be like Joss Whedon's friend. You know,
Seems
that?
like a cool dude.
Seriously, because that's a guy who gets it right, like, all the time. How do you get it right that many times in a row? Anyway,
I think it's because he does the projects that like he wants to do.
So
he doesn't do
you're going to be good at it.
Yeah, he doesn't do stuff just kind of like, oh, it's going to be a cool thing and a big paycheck, I'll do it. Like, he does the stuff that he wants to.
For the love of doing it.
He's a big nerd, man.
You can tell the difference in people do certain things. And speaking of which, Godzilla sold itself as a Godzilla movie, which it was not. And it got to like summer blockbuster movie status because it had a Godzilla name. It had a big name backing it. The problem was, I think it didn't sell its product correctly, personally. That was a movie about the human aspect of Godzilla.
I was just... It was mostly that, I'll agree. But it was still... It was that. It's a monster movie. And it was a
Where's the
reboot.
monsters?
And it was a reboot, too. So going into it being a first one, you know it's going to be more of like kind of an origin telling. I expected minimal Godzilla, so the stuff that we did get was awesome when we got it, so I was happy with it.
That's unfortunate.
It's all
After seeing
of them,
Cloverfield and seeing movies that could be done like that didn't really show you the monster right from the get-go, that kind of obscured the monster in certain lights, but then later just gave you the whole bill of sale right there. That was cool to me.
Over Cloverfield, oh man, and they were both JJ, weren't they?
Yeah.
The one over Cloverfield that I felt like told the human story better was Super 8.
Even Super 8. When you have, again, a monster movie like that, I expect to see the goddamn monster.
Yeah.
I don't want 12 minutes of monster and 2.5 hours of Bryan Cranston's hairpiece. I didn't even get that. You know, his hairpiece was in the movie more than Godzilla was. Why didn't they call it BC hairpiece? But what surprised me about that movie is that we got to see some really sweet special effects, and they just used 12 minutes of it. And it just that irritated me so much. But as far as worst movies go, I would put things like Catwoman on there. I haven't seen Jonah Hex, but
Green Lantern.
Did you really not like that movie though? Was it Ryan Reynolds or was it something else?
There were parts that I
Neither did
liked.
I, though.
There were parts that I liked. I didn't dislike Ryan Reynolds. I disliked, again, that was a movie that felt way too long, too cheesy, bad dialogue, and just the plot. The plot just didn't really, mostly the villain. They didn't really do anything good with the villain.
They had Sinestro in their back pocket, and they didn't even ring that bill up. And you know what? Going to like OA and seeing
that stuff was cool.
That stuff was awesome.
Yeah.
And they could have, I don't know. There's so much to be done with Hal. I feel like, again, wasted opportunity.
Yeah.
But Green Lantern, I don't know. I wouldn't throw it out of bed for eating crackers, but it's not the greatest. That's true. That's
Spider-Man 3.
Just a slap together melange garbage.
Not good.
But, again, billed as a huge summer blockbuster, and you had Topher Grace. So that's what you get. That's what you get, Topher Grace.
As far as what we've been getting, though, I'd say we're
we're ahead of the curve.
We're largely getting spoiled by more good stuff than bad stuff right now. So
Especially Marvel.
I'm
going to say that.
Yeah.
Marvel.
Marvel.
Let me tell you, when you sign a guy like Whedon up and you hook him up with some of the greatest superhero team up tales in the Avengers, man, you're gonna get a sweet run. Again, I feel like all of these movies that they've set up, that they've put this outline into place, and they're just gonna build and build and build off of it. I think it's fantastic. They have endless amounts of stuff to go through.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I was leading towards. Is I want more of the. I'm very excited that they're doing like some of the smaller, more obscure stuff now. Like I'm really excited. I know you really liked it. I was not that crazy about the Ant-Man trailer, but I'm really excited to see the movie, and I want to support the movie because I want characters like that to get movies. So.
Anything but the Iron Fist for me.
What the hell was it with people saying that trailer didn't show enough?
It almost showed too much.
Yeah.
It didn't wow me, but I still absolutely want to go see the movie.
Yeah, and Paul Rudd,
I like Paul Rudd.
I like that. See, I like multi-dimensional actors like that. I mean, he can slide from our idiot brother into something fairly serious. But Ant-Man isn't 100% serious. The guy's as sarcastic as Spider-Man in many ways.
Yeah.
That's because he's so tiny. But we won't talk about Josh like that.
Hey, don't say anything. He hit his head on a lampshade yesterday.
A really low hanging best.
Breast.
Our favorites. Breast. Our favorites, again, Guardians for me. Also, I would say Batman Begins. I'd say The Dark Knight. I would say Hellboy. Avengers. Man of Steel. I think Man of Steel even needed a little bit something
with the
more.
Exception of, with the exception of 2, you read my entire list.
What two? What other two do you have?
I have Watchmen.
Nice. I didn't even think of that.
And I have Kick-Ass.
Kick-Ass was so cool, too. I didn't see the second one yet, though.
Not that great.
Really?
Dang.
See how they urinate on things? But I will say Superman, 1979, Christopher Reeve. Even though they read the poem when he was flying, that was movies in the 70s. You can't avoid that. Do you remember that scene?
Yeah.
Where he's holding Lois, and she's like, am I dreaming and you seeing your eyes? Oh, wait. She was more like, and I'm looking in his eyes. I'm sorry. I love you, Lois. But I think that movie was well put together for being the 70s, and they progressively got worse.
Yeah.
If you noticed, like Superman 2, all of a sudden you started seeing wires, where Superman 1, you saw nothing. 79 Superman was clean as a whistle.
Yep.
They got the Vaseline ready.
I can't believe. Oh, and then Superman jumps out of the, like he changes in the phone booth.
Yeah.
And he jumps out. He's Superman, and right in front of like a pimp wearing a fur boa, and he's like, "That's a bad outfit." And then Superman says, "Thanks," and then flies to save the day.
What one was it where he changed in the photo booth and was taking pictures of him changing?
Oh, that was cool.
Yeah, and he ripped he comes out and the kid went to grab it, but he took the photo, the little strip, and it showed him like he was Clark, and the glasses and the shirt and the pants came off.
That's so awesome.
So he ripped everything
Pants
else and
came
gave him the
off.
one of Superman.
Reeves' Superman was great. So I think movies could have been done back then very, very nicely with what they had to work with. Man of Steel, a lot of it looks kind of CG. I mean, you can't even help that, but it's clean CG.
Mm-hmm.
It's better than Superman Returns CG.
It's mostly clean CG.
Made me sad. Superman Returns made me sad.
I remember Superman Returns and hearing the budget of like $300 million or some egregious amount like that. And I'm watching the whole thing going, I don't get why they spent that much. It's not that. And then at the very end, that entire scene where he's flying through space, that was all animated. I was like, that's what they spent it on.
Yeah, and then, man, they blew it in a lot of scenes
man.
in that movie. But and Kevin Spacey, what a waste of talent, too. Spacey's super talented. You didn't write him in the way you should have, in a way.
He plays such a good, he would have been a great Lex Luthor had he played him the way he plays Frank Underwood in House of Cards.
Like more of a business.
Yeah, very cold, very calculating, doesn't really, not animated, doesn't speak a lot in terms of volume and stuff. Like he yells maybe twice out of the 2 seasons in the show, Where in Superman Returns, he yells like every 4 seconds.
Yeah. He was supposed to be a little bit more of a maniac, which Spacey does well. But again, I would have rather have seen a different Luthor out of that. But compared to Man of Steel, Superman Returns doesn't even touch that level of depth. And just years and years later, all that technology has changed, and the visual technology has changed, and you can already point things out from the old. But I was thinking about this with Avengers. Like, there are scenes in the Avengers that I'm watching, and I know that I'm supposed to be able to clearly, obviously say the Hulk is CG. But god damn it, some points in that movie, I'm like, this pulls me right out of the film. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That it looks so CG'd in a way.
I mean, I haven't watched it in a little while, but I don't...
Watch it again. You'll spot some scenes where you're like, I just got pulled out of the movie. Jurassic World.
Well, there's scenes like that even in Man of Steel. Some of the
of course,
some of the flight scenes where you're just kind of like, you can tell they tried to like maybe clean it up too much or put some effects on there to make it look, like a person flying, how the scenery would look.
To me, that came in the beginning where he's flying over the lake. Like, he's doing that whole tour around the world, and he's flying over the lake. That looked way too CGI for what the movie ended up being.
Yeah, it's like someone's eye over at the studio, like saying that's good, and you have different eyes than they do, so you're going to perceive it differently.
And even the cinematography and the effects.
Whoa, big word, dude.
I know.
Okay, I'm just kidding.
And the effects and the CG weren't perfect for him because it did kind of definitely pull you out of the real world of it, but it was still really cool for that movie with what they did with the fight scenes. Like,
unbelievable. The Superman punches
with the fight between like Superman and what's her face, Fiora, who's just gorgeous, by the way.
Fiona Apple.
It was really cool for them to actually finally be able to do what a Superman fight scene.
Oh yeah, they ruined that IHOP too. That's the thing that was problematic for me because Mike
loves IHOP, so when people destroy it, he gets a little mad.
I am so
them's my pancakes.
I am so conscious, and I know that I'm not saying this being alone in this because I know that one or both of you are as conscious as I am when you watch movies. When I see product placement, I hate it. I absolutely hate product placement because they're so stupidly obvious about it. Now, Truman Show, okay? Every time he'd argue with his wife, and his wife would like hold up like Nesquik or Fiber whatever chocolate shake. It makes your bones really strong. And then he's like, "Why do you always do that? Who are you talking to?" That's what product placement feels like to me in a movie. I immediately see it.
Yeah.
And it might be because of something I got told when I was a kid in school, and one of the teachers was like, they have to turn the can sideways because they didn't pay royalties to Pepsi. And then I'm like, oh. So when I see it say Pepsi, I'm like, oh, they paid. Oh, I just missed 3 minutes of the movie because I'm paying.
Did he bang her sister?
But the worst thing is when you see like huge store signs in the background, like, again, in this movie, they had a 4-minute fight inside of IHOP, and everything said IHOP on it. And then Sears.
Oh, man.
Sears, what did you pay to be in Man of Steel? Why didn't they destroy the Sears? I used to work in one of those fucking places, So they just leave the Sears untouched. But there were a lot of cool scenes in that movie. They did it well. They did the CG as well as they could for the modern age. I thought the scene that spoke volumes to me in Superman Returns was right at the very beginning, when he saves Lois on the plane. Right when she sees him fly by those windows, that was like a really emotional moment for me. That was the next time I get to see Superman fly. But
that whole beginning when I went to see that in the theater,
the whole movie should have been like that.
I got a little emotional too when he like lands the plane safely down.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, oh, soups.
Yeah, and then again, Routh is awesome, dude. Brandon Routh he's pretty good. I like him. I liked him in Scott Pilgrim, which, by the way,
he's really good on Arrow.
Yeah, you guys told me he was on Arrow, which is awesome. I hope he continues to get work like that because he's good.
There's rumors that he's going to get his own show.
Oh, that's too far, but I hope he continues to find work. But
Ralph is awesome. You don't deserve your own show.
Ralph on Scott Pilgrim. Seriously, Scott Pilgrim was probably one of my favorite movies of all time. That's got to be in my top 10.
You
that
can
movie
count
was
it on.
great,
You can count it
dude.
as this. We'll count that as a.
Yeah, that movie was great too. But he was great in that movie as well. So it's not Ralph's fault. Superman Returns was just badly written. It was written by two teenage kids, basically, who are in the scene in the museum when Lex Luthor's in there trying to steal kryptonite or something. And they get shooed out of the museum, these two kids that actually wrote the film. Thanks, you two jackasses. You ruined some piece of my childhood.
Well, speaking of Superman Returns, you kind of hinted at little pieces of it. Casting though, let's get the big ones out of the way as far as like favorites. Like I think we would all probably throw down Robert Downey Jr.
Easy number one.
If you throw down like a really good like surprise one, we'd probably all
Mark
say
Ruffalo.
We'd all say Heath Ledger.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd say Heath Ledger, but Mark Ruffalo for me
as Hulk was awesome. That was actually on my list.
as Bruce,
But,
right?
Yeah, who kind of caught you off guard was kind of like maybe I wasn't sure, but that
He cracked jokes, man.
that guy sold me. He did all right.
I loved it when he's in that scene in the whatever the little hut they were in, him and Black Widow, and they're talking to each other, and he gets agitated and he yells something, and she just pulls a piece on him. She just like aimed at his face, and he's like, "I thought we were here talking like friends, whatever." And then she tells whatever to stand down in her earpiece. He's like, "I thought we were alone." Like, you don't come alone to see the Hulk, but he cracked jokes. His face was perfect, and like heading towards all this disaster that was in front of them. When he was like, "That's my secret. I'm always angry," and then he turns it on and smashes that fucking worm-like creature. Is there a name for that? Is it called a Zorg?
He really ended up being the star of that movie, I feel.
Avengers?
Yeah.
He will be again.
Yeah, because he wasn't featured too much as the Hulk himself, but he had such great parts. It was well worth it.
If you ever see Ultimate Avengers, the animated series, well, it's not even a series, just like 2 movies. The Hulk is always a central figure because he's the most powerful character in comic books.
Because he's ridiculously awesome.
I don't know about awesome.
No, he's
just
awesome.
a giant piece of muscle, and he's indestructible. So,
But when the comic book, when it's done right, like Peter David had a very long good run of Hulk. When it's done well, when you get like that.
the emotional side too.
When you get the really good emotional human aspect of Bruce Banner mixed in with the awesome Hulk stuff,
Yeah.
it's done very well. But I remember going to see Avengers in the theater, and then as soon as the credits rolled, my first reaction, I turned to like John and everyone I went to see it with, and I said, "That was a better Hulk movie than the Hulk movie."
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy is that Hulk himself as a standalone, I mean, super powerful character again with a great backstory. Why hasn't anybody ever done that? Like, I even thought that the earlier iteration of that movie with I don't remember his name, the dark-haired fella,
Eric Bana,
because his name was close to Bruce Banner. So I thought he was going to do a great job, and I think he did overall do a great job. And Jennifer Connelly, of course, amazing actress.
That movie was way too long for what it was. Had they shortened it up and kind of sped things along, it would have been good. Even Nick Nolte in there.
good old
Nick Nolte took again. Here's a guy you haven't seen in the movies since 1989.
Yeah.
You know, but the very next one was Edward Norton. Also not bad, but
Yeah.
they still opportunities missed all over the place. I feel like they're misfire after misfire. So
Well, it's usually good casting, bad script.
yeah, but I think you don't want a character like that with his own movie. I think he's more powerful in an Avengers movie. I think that's your Hulk movie, and I think you're absolutely right. He had a very important role to play in Avengers, and he'll have another really important role to play in Age of Ultron. I just see him being used as a piece. He is the queen on the chessboard. He can go wherever he wants. He can go wherever he wants. You have pawns like the smaller characters like Hawkeye. I mean, I see him as a pawn on the chessboard. I see Black Widow as a knight, very complex mover. So, I mean, they're just written so well seriously, they're written so well. I could pick them out on a chessboard, who's who, because I feel like, I mean, the Hulk has got to be the most powerful piece on the board. Period. That's the Queen.
Who's the king?
The King's a single movie. It's not even that important.
But without the king, you lose.
Without the King, you lose. I don't know. Robert Redford. Moving on. So you were mentioning casting and whatnot. How about that?
How about upcoming casting? Is there anything that you're excited about? Because I think I kind of want to see Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne.
I think it's gonna blow us away. I think Bruce Wayne. Did you see some of the other news that's coming out with his basically his Superman Buster uniform?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I was gonna say non-spoilery stuff. I don't.
Well, Josh, he dresses as a small cat, and
He borrows Catwoman's
you've
clothes.
technically already seen him in
Yeah.
his regular outfit, but he's apparently has the Superman Buster suit. But I mean, we look forward to these kinds of things, you know.
Yeah.
Plus, if you've read any Superman versus Batman comics, you know he's got.
You
a
know
suit.
he's gonna come out with it, and plus, you know, it's like a dude. It's got so many nods to Frank Miller. It's gonna be sweet. I can't wait for that because you have Wonder Woman as well. Didn't they cast a Flash already?
They
For the
did.
movie?
They did. You know,
I wonder what he's gonna be like.
I'm not sure.
Hopefully, he gets abs from lightning.
I don't know how much. I don't know. I don't know how much time. They're gonna give all these people. They cast so many people for this. I don't know how much screen time they're all gonna get, or how long
that
this
is the
movie is
fear.
going to be.
But remember, you just pointed out Hulk in Avengers. He got enough for it to be like a sweet Hulk appearance, I think.
Well, we even discussed it in a previous show too. This could be something where they're just setting up, or they're filming like Superman, Batman, and then the Justice League movie, all in one shot, like they did Lord of the Rings and all those movies.
Well, and that's the other thing. So you have, for continuity's sake, you're bringing on a boatload of characters in this new one. Civil War. They were talking about doing Civil War with Avengers. What's to say they're not digging for an Infinite Crisis on the DC side? So.
I have no doubts that they're probably
Or Identity
something along
Crisis,
those.
even because you have your three mains. You have Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and they've shown them to us repeatedly. So you could have an Identity Crisis series of movies. You could have Infinite Crisis. You could go anywhere with some of this stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm pumped. Just like you said, this is the time to be around for superhero movies and casting. We've been taken by surprise repeatedly. You mentioned Heath Ledger. I say Robert Redford for more than one reason. I would have never thought to see that man in a comic book movie.
I could have done without Robert.
Really?
Yeah.
He's a conniving son of a bitch, though.
I don't know.
Is it because he's redhead?
No, I don't know if there was
Damn,
enough there. I
dude.
feel like you could have thrown almost anyone in that role.
Anyone who wasn't a
and it would have
ginger.
been okay.
What was
Right? Anyone who wasn't a ginger.
Well,
Is that what you're saying?
That's no.
I feel like that's what you're saying right now. You want to replace Samuel L. Jackson too? How about him as being
The
like
Hulk.
yeah, he's the Hulk. What about the role he plays as Fury? Perfect.
Yeah.
I like it. He's strong. He's just, I mean, Winter Soldier was sweet though too, man. I'm telling you, this is the best time to be alive for a comic book fan. I don't know about all you drama fans, but there's only been one Notebook. Okay? And it stars Channing Tatum.
Oh man, why'd you have to bring up that casting?
For Jupiter Ascending or anything.
he's
Because
gonna-
he is terrible.
He's gonna be our Gambit, man.
Oh, I hope it does
God.
absolutely amazing. It shuts you lesbians
I'm
up.
gonna light your beard on fire.
His beard is on fire. It's a ginger. You hate gingers, don't you?
No.
Brooke, if you're listening, Josh is your mortal enemy. He stands opposed. But
That piece of crap is gonna be our Gambit.
I can't believe that, though. Like,
Yeah.
there's so many better... But that's why X-Men even... Has X-Men ever really gotten it right? Even Wolverine standalone movie. I like X-Men... What's this most recent one?
Days of Future
Days
Past.
of Future Past.
I liked it.
Eh,
And it stands on its own, though.
eh.
It can stand on its own. I'd actually prefer that it stands on its own. Because that scene with Quicksilver...
Yeah.
Out. You will never see a better scene in a movie. Oh my gosh, yeah. And he's like moving part. Dude,
Yeah.
that was great. You can't
That
top
one was
that.
amazing, but I
He's seen better.
no, I was gonna say no. We're getting Quicksilver in Avengers, so
It's not the Flash.
I wouldn't
so.
be surprised if we get a better Quicksilver scene in Avengers.
I let me tell you, I'd be excited for it.
Yeah, we're gonna
I'd be
get
excited.
Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch, come and go, whatever. Sean, did you find something?
When you had mentioned Robert Redford in Captain America, for whatever reason, I remember reading that Hugo Weaving wasn't a fan of the Red Skull doing that.
Oh, and he was the Red Skull.
In the
I totally
first one,
forgot
yeah.
that.
I was going to bring that up, but then I was reading where Natalie Portman didn't want to do Thor 2.
Why?
She wanted to back out. She didn't like the character, the role, whatever, but due to contractual obligation, she had to do Thor 2.
No wonder she looked so half-assed the whole time.
Yeah,
Actually, Portman looks half-assed all the time.
Well, which makes sense because, they even mention her in the Avengers, but don't really do anything with the character. They just show her in like a dossier or whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But she isn't in there, so that makes sense now. Because I always wondered why she wasn't in that.
But I don't understand that. Michael Keaton played that whole game too, right? The whole, typecasting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what bothers me. I don't like the change.
So did Tom Welling for Smallville, and he stayed on for 10 seasons.
What, he didn't want to do it anymore?
I don't want to be known as Superman for the rest of my life.
I don't understand that.
To his defense, he did try other things, and they failed miserably.
Yeah.
What other things?
Cheaper by the Dozen 1, 2. He did The Fog. He did the remake in that.
The Fog?
Yeah.
The fuck?
The fuck.
What is that about?
Just
Tell me it's about fog.
Yeah, it's a foggy mist off the coast of Maine.
Isn't there always a foggy mist off the coast of Maine?
This thing kills people, though.
Jesus Christ, Fog. What are you doing? No, I think Tom Welling he's a TV star.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see him as a movie star.
No.
But he was an awesome Clark, man. You can't, again, find me a better Clark.
He got his wish, too. He said he would never wear the suit. So they just CGI'd the suit on him. Then there's the one part where he's coming out of the fortress and he's flying. And they kind of show like a zoomed out picture and he breaks through the ceiling. And he's flying and he's got the suit in his hand on his way up.
That's probably like, and I think we brought it up, before too. But going into the Batman vs Supes movie, the sequel, that is kind of probably like my biggest disappointment in that the fight scenes, all the new characters, and all the action. I'm sure all that stuff is going to be great. Will be awesome to watch. But I really feel like where Man of Steel failed was establishing the Clark Kent character. Like, you got some bits and like flashback details.
Well, remember, the movie, first of all, is called Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Okay. Secondly, they didn't turn you on to Clark until Daily Planet at the end. Yeah. So I feel like maybe the second movie is going to be more of the humanist side, because if you think about it, you got Batman, you have Bruce Wayne coming in as a super complex character who's showing up, might be hitting on Lois. What up, Low Dog? Boom.
It took me forever to get the double meaning at the end of Man of Steel when Lois goes, "Welcome to the planet." I was
Welcome to the planet.
Wow, seriously?
Welcome back to the Daily Planet.
Dang.
Sean. Wait a minute. I get it.
Yeah, but they're again, clever writing like that. You can't beat it. I mean, that's what it's there for. But I think in the second movie,
that's actually one of my favorite scenes. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's actually one of my favorite scenes, and is actually at the end when it's just showing him and he's like getting his ride, and he's like the tie is like flapping in the wind, and he goes into the elevator and he grabs the glasses. That was done perfect.
Oh yeah. So that I think we'll get to see a little bit more of. I think we'll get a little bit more of Clark. But remember, this ends up being it's Superman versus Batman.
Yeah.
We're gonna get Clash of Titans here that Godzilla wasn't. I mean, these are modern mythology heroes. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I want to see Clark, and I want to see a good story build up for Clark.
Yeah.
And I think they're just going to do that in the beginning. I feel like they're going to build Bruce Wayne slightly. You're already supposed to know who the guy is, technically. How long do you want this movie to be? 5 hours? How long do you want this podcast to be? It's killing me. But
I bet if Bruce Wayne killed 2 people with the Batmobile, they'd probably charge him a little bit more because they know he's got the money.
They knew Matthew Broderick had the money. They only hit him up for $175. Matthew Broderick is equal to Bruce Wayne without being Batman.
Not quite.
That's a great formula.
Yeah, and Tony Stark, because he had Jennifer Grey, but he dumped her for Horseface. But anyway, not to get mad at Horseface, because That's not the kind of podcast we want to be. We love you, Horseface. Superman 3. Love it, hate it. Because it was good, right? Richard Pryor, right, guys?
Man. Trying to make kryptonite.
What was it?
How about when he was penny shaving? He was shaving pennies off the end of like payroll checks and depositing money, and each deposit was progressively larger and larger. I love you, Richard Pryor, you dead bastard.
I just like when Superman, like, nothing can affect the guy, but apparently he can just get drunk off his ass.
Just trashed. Oh,
Sitting
by
in
the way,
bar
that was a great scene, though, too.
Flinging peanuts at the bottles.
Just bing! And just like a bullet.
Yep.
Josh?
Yeah.
What are you eating there, guy?
Just a brownie.
A pot brownie.
Just a brownie.
Pot brownie.
Sean wants to drive the point home that there might be some greeneries in that. What is it exactly made out of besides the hopes and dreams of a civilization?
As far as I know, it's chocolate and vegan ham.
Vegan ham.
Just
apple loaf.
Just a regular brownie this time, guys.
Okay. Well, it's got dead babies in it. Cool. Glad you ain't that.
Okay.
So now that we're moving on from the movies, what about television? We spoke about Tom Welling. What show do you think that never really got its day in the sun?
I can tell you one that's not going to get his day is Constantine.
It's not, is it?
The way they're shuffling that show around.
And I can't believe how it's taken a
already
nosedive.
not getting renewed.
Mm-hmm.
It's taking a nosedive story-wise, too, man. That thing is crash and burn. And I can't believe The Flash is still on TV. I mean, honestly.
Crash and burn, dude, that already got picked up for a season 2.
Oh.
Dude, it's getting a lot better. It started off rough, but it's getting a lot better.
Yeah.
And they're going to start getting into, they've already said that going into the end of season 1 and into season 2, they said they're going to really start actually mixing some things up with the time travel aspect, which I'm pretty
that's what it's all about.
Which I'm pretty excited about.
The Speed Force. I mean, that's where the Flash lives, in that little nook in the Speed Force. But Flash, okay, that's being upgraded. Constantine, sorry to see you go, but I really do think some of it's the writing. So, I mean, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do?
But I think I don't know. It's not more recent. It's mid 2000s. Probably Firefly would be my show that I would have loved to see get more. But with the caveat that I think I'm torn between wanting more and wanting it to stay the same, because I really don't know if they would handle it correctly. I think it'd be mishandled.
You get the same creative team. You could squeeze some more life out of there.
Think Whedon come back for Firefly?
Quite possibly.
Sean, have you seen Firefly? I feel like you watched it recently. You didn't?
Not at all.
You should give that show a shot, man.
I really
should. It's
should.
only one season. It's like 12 episodes or something.
I really should, but the way people talk about it all the goddamn time, I feel like it's going to be
off-putting.
Yeah.
Go into it with zero expectations and let it surprise you, because
I should. I watched Catwoman, for fuck's sakes.
Listen, if you can sit through Godzilla 2014 or 20, what year did that movie come out?
That's Coney 2012.
14.
Damn it. Godzilla 20. Occupy Godzilla, you know? But yeah, if you could sit through that shit, you can sit through something really good like Firefly. But now saying this about shows, is there one that you, Josh, did want more from?
Oh, yeah.
Don't say
I was so depressed when it
Vampire
got
Diaries.
canceled.
What?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Vampire Diaries. Mine was a show. I don't know if either of you bothered watching any of it. It only had one season, and they got the axe. But it was a show called Awake. It had Jason Isaacs.
Was that the NBC show?
I'm pretty sure it was NBC.
Where he was he essentially lived two lives?
Yeah, the concept of the show was he was a cop.
Yep.
And the main focal point, the main plot point of it was he got in a car accident, and one of two things, or however it depends. They kind of left it up to you and what you wanted to believe out of it by the end. But he gets in a car accident. His wife and his son are in the car. Initially, I believe it was the wife that died, but the trick is, the weird thing is that he's kind of living in two realities. So in one reality, his wife died in the car accident. When he goes to bed, he wakes up. He's living in another reality where it was his son that died in the accident.
Whoa, that's crazy town.
So and he always wears like, you know, kind of through the course of like the show and everything, he starts kind of losing track and losing focus of like which worlds he's in. So he always wears like a bracelet, like red was like one reality and like green was like another reality. And the kind of like the in-between moments and trying to figure it out, he sees like a therapist in one of the worlds and he sees a therapist in one of the other worlds, and he's trying to, you know,
Figure
out if is he actually really living into realities? Is one of them just in his head? You know, which one might be the real one?
Someone playing a fucking game.
So it was really good, and they even took it in like a pretty cool direction in the end because they knew they were going to get canned, so they kind of
What happened?
gave you a decent ending out of it.
Spoiler alert. What happened?
I believe, and it's been 2 years since I've watched it, but I believe the way that they ended it was he was sitting and talking with one of the therapists in like the end scene, and then they kind of give you like one of those like moments of just kind of like, well, you need to just essentially like choose or whatever, and all you have to do is like walk through that door, and like, you know, whatever you believe, you know, will be the truth, or something along the lines of that. And I don't remember what the hell the last scene was. I know they show him like walking through the door, and
then he runs into Tony Soprano and then Black.
No, one of them. No, it is kind of like,
I keep you guessing.
I can't remember. I'd have to look up what scene played out at the very end. One of them, he kind of like made a choice of like where one of them like was still alive.
That's a tough choice to have to make.
And maybe it was one of those things where he decided to keep living in both because maybe he still had like one of the bracelets on or something like that. I can't remember. It was really good. It was kind of left a little ambiguous to where like, did it mean this or did it mean this? And you could kind of make up your own mind.
Did any show besides The Office run too long?
Firefly.
Smallville.
Yeah.
Oh man, 5 seasons.
Even though I love it, I would say Friends.
I'd have cut it. I wouldn't have even started Friends.
I know you don't like
Sean,
it, but it did go too long.
Sean, what shows do you believe that needed a little bit more time in the sun? What show got canceled and you were really pissed?
I don't know. I think every show gets canceled. Fuck.
While he's talking, I'm gonna look up the end of my show.
Okay.
You should. Huh.
I should have been prepared for that.
Oh, Jericho.
Oh, Jericho.
Yeah, that got cut kind of soon.
And it was abrupt too, right?
Yeah.
Because I remember watching the first season with Joanna back in the day, and it was because it was like a real dystopian world, like these nuclear bombs had gone off and cut them off from any type of city services, any governments or anything. They're basically self-policed at that point. Was that what that was?
Yeah. Yeah, and like I think the whole shit, I can't even remember the concept of it. I remember. It's been so long since I watched. I keep getting that and Revolution mixed up.
Yeah, because they're very similar. There are a few shows on TV at one point that were all about alien invasion and whatnot, and I was like, damn, this is just too much alien invasion on this motherfucking TV right now. I had to watch something completely different.
Yeah, even though it was only 2 seasons, Revolution was way too long.
Did you guys ever see a show like, for instance, they brought V back? Remember V?
Yeah.
And they cut that quick too, right? Couple seasons, maybe. Yeah, it just didn't have the.
It was 2, maybe 3. Scrubs went a little bit too long.
Scrubs went too long.
Yeah.
Simpsons. Simpsons went too long. Seinfeld should have stopped after after episode 1. I'm kidding.
No, he's not.
I'm actually not kidding. But shows that come across with interesting subject matter getting cut is a real weird way to tell people we're not interested in the show that's really interesting. Mm-hmm. Who makes those calls? I mean, is it really a ratings game, or is it just essentially like, we have other shows behind this one that we think are stronger than this one, so we're just going to cut this guy?
Probably.
Like, what came up after Firefly, When Animals Attack? I mean, what the hell did you have that was going to bring in more ratings? But Battlestar Galactica on Sci-Fi?
Mm-hmm.
Great show.
Let's go back to Constantine. That show was doing great, and then they kicked it to Friday for whatever reason, and it's been doing terrible ever
Friday's
since.
a cemetery, isn't it, for a
Yeah.
TV show? Because no one they're suspecting their target age range is not at home on Friday nights or whatever.
Yeah, Smallville, I think right around season 8 got shoved to Fridays.
That sucks. Supernatural, where's that at right now? Wednesday still?
That's a Tuesday show.
Tuesday. See?
Yep.
They want you home, motherfucker.
It went from Thursday to Wednesday to Tuesday, so they're going
Getting
back
better.
the schedule. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's one of the. Actually, I think it's the only CW flagship show right now.
Didn't they had a couple other shows that they were trying to push on people too that didn't pan out?
Yeah,
Again,
I mean,
the whole vampire thing,
yeah, they're getting away with that show. I mean, they went to the originals and stuff like that. But Smallville and Supernatural were the two shows that carried over when they switched from the WB.
do you think this new Krypton show is? I mean, it's just gonna have that formulaic storyline. It's just gonna be Smallville too.
Is that that's the Supergirl show though, basically, isn't it?
No.
Or they're doing.
There's
Supergirl
a show,
show's different.
Krypton.
Krypton is different.
Oh, we're gonna get two.
Well, that's the thing, man.
Supposedly, yeah.
I mean, come on. And this is why this is practically why I just switched over to Netflix and don't watch really TV anymore. If I'm interested in a show, I'm going to watch it straight run. Krypton, I as a Superman fan, I want to see Krypton, and I want to say that it's something that I'll be super interested in. But man, you're gonna have to bring it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We've had a lot of good stuff, and on a show like that, for it to stay strong, you have to have good casting and good storylines. And right now, just it being like Superman or Kal-El's grandfather time, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I would have probably liked it better closer to the explosion of their star. You know what I'm saying? Like all the troubles that Jor-El went through to try to get Clark off the planet or Kal-El off the planet. There was so much there, so much meat and potatoes. Now they're going to make this about Superman's grandpa, essentially. I mean, damn. What's really there? You have to rewrite the entire thing. Mm-hmm. And these people don't really have superpowers, right? Because it's under the red sun.
Yeah.
I'm okay with even doing some of the. I'm not perfectly okay with it, but even if they do something close to Freak of the Week-ish stuff, or just cheesy villain of the week stuff, as long as they throw in enough threads in there, if they weave in enough stuff to keep like a good continual like season or even series long storyline going through it that keeps your interest.
But what's really going to keep your interest there? You don't have Kal-El, which is your marquee player, right? And you don't have superpowers. So it's just going to be a drama show. What Freak of the Week can they honestly give you aside from, these Kryptonian criminals? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're going to end up with. It's going to be like the Real Housewives of Krypton is what it's going to end up being.
I'm having a hard time finding anything that just straight up explains what happened to the whole thing. There's more stuff I could read, but it would take me a while to dig through it. But essentially, the gist of what I'm getting is he does kind of... it's kind of explained that he needs to like make a choice. He was actually with both of the therapists from both worlds in that end scene, kind of talking to him. And there's kind of like this, he needs to make like a choice type thing. And they tell him to like walk through the door. He walks through the door. He's back in his house at home. And I believe I remember like the final shot being it just shows him, his face. He walks like into the kitchen and he just kind of like smiles and then it ends. So they didn't really show.
Well, there was obviously a ham sandwich on the counter.
And
so
I think it was they kind of wrote it in that it could end the show, but also
could have gone either way.
Could have gone into a season 2, which they didn't get.
Which they didn't do. What do you guys remember that show, Yesterday's News?
No.
Come on, man. It was this cat. I don't know. I just remember the cat. No, this guy would get the newspaper, but it was tomorrow's news. And he'd get it today. So he would find a story in there, like of somebody being murdered or something happening in and around the town.
That plot sounds terribly familiar.
It was a show on CBS, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I don't remember.
What was the name of it?
Yesterday's News. And then he would go, or today's news, something, tomorrow's news. Anyway, he would go.
It's called Early Edition.
Early Edition, and he would go and like save people. Early Edition. I think what?
Guess who the main character was?
Yeah, dude, the dude.
I don't know. Who was it?
The
Coach
dude.
Taylor.
Coach Taylor, bro.
Was it?
Kyle Chandler, 90 episodes. It went for 4 years.
Wow.
It was great, dude. It was a great show, man. That's another one of those serial shows that was Freak of the Week, but done properly.
Yeah.
Properly done Freak of the Week.
And they even gave themselves a setup for it.
Gave themselves a pass,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But you had, you also, I mean, what would he have done for, like, a lot of the great world events? Like, that's, what
Like,
do you do?
Get the paper and go, damn, that sucks.
Damn, Iran, sorry. You know? Like, forget about it. There was also, it just escaped me. I just had it. Quantum Leap. Did that run too long? But that was another formulaic Freak of the Week show that did it right, man. It was just, I'm about to watch Quantum Leap. Let me turn everything else off and just watch Quantum Leap. That's how good of a show.
I don't remember. Yeah, I remember.
Remember the thing? You were like, Ziggy? Beep, boop,
Yeah.
boop, boop, beep,
I don't
boop.
remember it running too long because I don't know that back then I sat down and watched it every single week and knew when a new season was coming on. It was just kind of like I caught Quantum Leap when I caught Quantum Leap.
That's fucked.
I'm sorry.
I'm not mad at you,
I
though.
liked it. I don't know. So I would say maybe it didn't because I don't remember how long it went.
MacGyver. How about the 90 different seasons or different styles of Stargate? Like, come on. Stargate SG-1, Stargate Pants Down.
SG-1 was good until, I don't know, maybe like midway through the run. And it started becoming like Starbucks SG-1 because like every scene took place in their cafeteria.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it because of Dean Anderson?
I think it was because like
Richard Dean Anderson. That was MacGyver, too.
Yeah.
Oh.
He stopped going through the gate with people, so he became like an admiral, lieutenant, or whatever. And all the briefings were done in like this cafeteria.
That's so hilarious that's where a show like that had that kind of pull and power turned into cafeteria. But I mentioned Battlestar Galactica. There are a few shows on cable stations like Sci-Fi. But look at Netflix taking charge here. We're gonna get some really cool superhero stuff out of Netflix too. Daredevil's coming through on Netflix. Mm-hmm. They do House of Cards right now. Orange is the New Orange.
Close.
Arrested Development got thrown on Netflix. So I like seeing these streaming services dump some money into some sweet shit. So I'm glad about that.
It's nice too that they don't release it episode by episode. It's just all one shot.
Yeah, and it's excellent.
Yeah. In February, to like I think it's the 25th, the new season of House of Cards comes out. You're getting all 13 episodes right away.
That's so
yeah,
awesome.
it's not like they really need to worry about ratings.
Well, that's the other thing. Do you think that kind of thing is going to have influence on cable TV shows?
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, look, Sean and I used to talk about these stupid half seasons all the time. He's pissed me off. And Battlestar Galactica, biggest offender of these. Like, they would release a full, like, here are 6 episodes of season 2.5.
$45.
$65. Yeah, they would charge you full price for these half seasons. Man, suck an egg, motherfucker. Go suck an egg, fool.
The first time I saw that was with Nip Tuck. I think it was like their 5th season. They did 5.1 and then season 5. And they did halfway through, then they released the second half, and then they went ahead and released it all as one.
And they made money, and they made money,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
they made money until the musical episode, and then I didn't want to watch it anymore. But that's the crazy part about these shows is they try to find a gimmicky way to garner viewers. So Walking Dead's doing it now with the half seasons. Makes me want to vomit. Game of Thrones, come on, man. Don't make
They
me
only take
wait
a
for that
break.
shit.
They only take a break towards the end.
Yeah, and then you got to wait 9 months for another season. But that's the thing.
Oh, for another season, of course.
But no, this is the thing. What if you got Game of Thrones in one hit? Like season 4 of Game of Thrones, all 13 episodes in one hit. Would that not be an evening to remember? Of course you wouldn't. You wouldn't wait till tomorrow. HBO's ratings would skyrocket. I mean, you're gonna watch it for 3 days straight.
There's a bunch of studies and stuff that the HBO, like how you can just buy it coming up.
Oh, just the streaming part?
The streaming part. I'm sorry. How you can order that. They speculate that to do major damage to cable.
Good.
Because
Goodbye,
a lot of
cable.
the reason people have cable is for HBO.
Done. You don't need it. Fuck it. Or you find a friend with HBO Go.
Yeah.
Josh, do you have HBO Go? I would, at this point in the podcast, Sean, you had something that you wanted to air some grievances.
I really don't want to because I feel bad, but I have to anyway.
You got to air those grievances, bro.
The WWE is dropping the ball so goddamn hard on what the fans want. It's unreal. Last year at the Royal Rumble, the number one guy the fans absolutely loved wasn't even in the Rumble itself. They expected, they're like, oh, they're going to put him in at 30. So 29 comes in. Everyone's like, yeah, Daniel Bryan, who was the number one guy at the time.
I've never even heard of that guy.
If you haven't watched it from like 06 forward, you're not gonna
know
recognize any of these names. So Daniel Bryan's sad. Everyone's like, yeah, he's gonna be in this. He's gonna come in. The clock counts down to 0, and they do like a little pause before they play the intro music. And Rey Mysterio's music hits, and the arena erupts in boos. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Because they didn't like Rey Mysterio, or because they wanted Ray Romano?
They wanted Ray Romano. They wanted Daniel Bryan, but he didn't make it. So there was complaints about that. Daniel Bryan gets his title match at WrestleMania. He actually wrestles 2 great matches at WrestleMania 30, wins. Everybody's happy. We're rolling into this year's, and there's talks of Roman Reigns winning the Rumble. And it's just, he's a big guy. He's related to The Rock. He's got
family related?
Yeah, he's like
because
his
I know
cousin.
he has some like uncles that used to wrestle too.
Oh yeah,
The Rock did.
The Rock has an extensive wrestling family. Actually, he's some like
That's
on his
crazy.
mom's side, he's Samoan. His dad was a wrestler too, so the branches are just all the way out there. But Roman Reigns, he's got the looks. He has a limited moveset and no mic skills whatsoever. So to put this guy in the main event makes no sense. Fast forward to the Royal Rumble last night, they go ahead and give him the win. Now, that's
who?
Roman Reigns. Now, that's
so this
fine.
guy right here.
That's fine. Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's
he looks like a fucking badass.
yeah, and he is. He's a great wrestler in tag teams, but put him in a match by himself, he's garbage. He doesn't have a moveset. He's got 2, like, wrestling fans joke about John Cena's 5 moves of doom. This guy's got 2.
Now, is that because he's just not mobile? He's not a mobile guy?
He doesn't have... He's still too green because he spent the first 2 years in wrestling as a tag team.
So he's proficient.
Yeah.
At tag team.
Yeah. But singles matches, he's absolutely terrible. So people... You knew going into the Royal Rumble like this guy was going to win, but hoping they would pull the wool over your eyes and let somebody else do it didn't happen. Not only that, the Rumble itself, which is supposed to be this awesome over-the-top rope 30-man battle, was garbage itself. They let all the surprise entrants that they scatter out through the night all in the beginning. And then Daniel Bryan, who just time and time again, he hypnotizes the fans. He's a top player. He should be the guy time and time again.
The guy.
They just hold him down. He wins the title at WrestleMania 30 last year.
The dude with the beard
Yeah.
that I'm looking at right now, Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
This dude is a monster too. Well, in a way.
He's not a monster at all. He's probably about the size of Josh.
You're not a monster, Josh.
All right, go Daniel.
I'm seeing like pictures of him doing moves. It's
Oh
crazy.
yeah. He's very he's got like a crash dummy style of wrestling. Like he balls to the wall.
It's like
the
battering
entire
ram
match.
himself.
Yeah, so you were at least hoping he would spend a good amount of time in the Rumble. He lasted like 3 people. Came in at 10, got eliminated when 16 came out.
Is this because the WWE is writing these storylines for these characters and they're essentially knocking out certain characters? Is that what happens?
What it's turning into is Vince McMahon just doing what he wants regardless of what the fans say.
Someone said that as soon as he's in charge of something, it usually sucks.
Yeah, pretty much. And he's made some good decisions before, but in the last year, from basically WrestleMania 30 to last night, they've been dropping the ball left and right on characters. I I think the only thing good they've done is just make Brock Lesnar the monster he has been since he's become world champion. And even then, they sort of dropped the ball there because he's only defended the title twice since August, and we're already in January.
So are they supposed to be contending all the time?
Typically, yeah. It's tradition in wrestling that they defend the title at most pay-per-views, and they're on the show every week. He's been on Raw maybe 3 times.
Raw is the weekly?
Yeah, their Monday show.
And WrestleMania, is that a quarterly show?
No, WrestleMania is their end of the year. It's like their Super Bowl.
Okay, but what's Royal Rumble then?
Kind of like the playoffs, if you want to try
So
to compare.
that's a damn big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you fuck up a Royal Rumble,
yeah, you fuck up a program and a half.
They still treat it the same though, right? As like the winner of the Rumble gets a title shot at Mania.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that was the problem. Last year they had Dave Bautista come back. He won the Rumble.
why is that name familiar? Is he a
He was
UFC
Drax.
fighter?
Guardians of the
Oh
Galaxy.
yeah,
he was Drax.
that dude was hilarious too, by the way.
Yeah, Batista came back last year and he won it, and the show ended in a chorus of boos. To tell you how bad people didn't want last night's ending to happen, they brought The Rock, who nobody could ever hate. They brought him in to help Roman Reigns win because he was getting double teamed by the Big Show and Kane, and people still booed at the end when The Rock was giving him their endorsement of raising his hand and going like, "Hey, this is the guy."
Showing him the champ.
Yeah, they still booed him.
And
out
people
of the
love
arena.
the fuck out of The Rock.
Yeah. Like anytime his music hits and I'm not ready for it, I celebrate like a child.
You wet yourself.
Yeah.
Because you know what he's cooking.
Yeah.
You're one of the very few people who know what The Rock is cooking.
Yeah.
Very few.
Well, that's the surprising thing to me is that these, I mean, again, you usually want to do what the fans want because if you do what the fans want, you get monies and attention and fame.
The number one Twitter trend last night for 4 solid hours was cancel WWE Network. And so many people canceled their subscriptions at one time, it crashed to their cancel page.
Fuck,
Like
dude.
people that wanted to cancel couldn't do it because there were so many cancellations.
Here's the thing. I mean, I haven't watched wrestling with any great regularity since I was probably 11 years old. But so I've missed out on storyline after storyline. And of course, these things go deeper than just the acrobatics in the ring. They build these stories on like their fictitious personalities, right? They have their luchadors. They have like fake personalities that they. Well, I'm looking at this Daniel Bryan guy, he looks pretty honest as a fella, but it might be because he has a beard. So, I mean, you don't want to fuck with an honest fellow like this, but I find it fascinating because there's so many other, I mean, avenues, right? That you could wrestle. I see UFC also has like Strike Force and other like fighting arenas. Impact Wrestling, is that something that's like a side job, side deal?
It's a second promotion, and it's it's B level. They take a lot of the older guys out of the WWE that can't wrestle full-time schedule or just couldn't cut it, and they pay them to do stuff. It's a pretty terrible product.
Shouldn't they call it low impact wrestling then? I mean, if you've got old people,
Right.
you know.
No, I mean, there's obviously other promotions like Ring of Honor, which has a show Friday night.
Is that what you were you used to tell? There was something you used to tell me about these super sweet Mexican tag team guys, the Dragons or something.
Oh, that's NXT.
NXT. Can you just? Is that owned by WWE?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
son of a bitch.
Yeah, you have to either have the network or Hulu. And Hulu airs their entire show the next day.
Yeah.
So you really don't even need... Like, people on the wrestling Reddit forum are just telling you to cancel the network and get Hulu because it's $2 cheaper.
Wouldn't... Again.
But with the network, you get the pay-per-views too.
Yeah,
though,
you get
right?
the pay-per-views and stuff, which I think kind of royally fucked them. Because they've been losing like crazy since WrestleMania 30. Shares have been dropping. They just reported that the vice president of the WWE has sold off 5% of his shares.
Just like that?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a bad time to dump your shares, though.
And it just doesn't make sense because I understand it's Vince McMahon's thing and he knows he should know what the fans want. But he's just like, this is what they want? Well, we're going to push you what I want anyway.
Why? That's the thing that confuses me is why wouldn't you do the thing that you know you'll win with?
Mm-hmm.
Why not do that thing that pleases the people? Isn't that the product you're putting out? That's like me saying, you know what? You guys like this Corktown scent beard oil. We're just going to cancel it.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw all the bottles on the ground and videotape me doing it, and you can't have it anymore. Why would I ever do that? Why would you do that? It's not like you put a better product out, right? I mean, that guy that you just mentioned, what's his face?
Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not like he was a better product.
No.
So what the hell, man? You lose. That's a lose-lose situation.
Well, and what this does too, and I mean, I'll even go to the politics of it all. In 2011, The Rock,
Politics.
Mike's favorite, The Rock and John Cena wrestled a tag team at Survivor Series, and that was one of the lowest rated Survivor Series in like the history of the show. They blamed the two guys they wrestled.
Why?
Because one of them was on press tour for the Survivor Series, and they said he didn't do a good enough job.
But what did it really have to do with?
It was just The Rock didn't wrestle at all. He went in like John Cena did most of the stuff. The Rock got tagged, hit the rock bottom, and got the pin.
So
Yeah, people don't want to pay $60 to watch The Rock stand on a ring apron for 25 minutes.
So now, as a wrestling fan yourself, and I know we have some wrestling fans listening. Surely we do.
His name's
would
not
you,
Shirley.
or is it? Would you not? So, are you going to do anything as far as not? I don't want to say boycott. That's kind of a harsh word.
Right.
Are you going to maybe take a step back, or are the Raws good enough where you're watching it weekly anyway?
I mean, the Raws haven't been good enough for a while, so thankfully I just kind of power through. I watch. There's a formula to it where they put some of the good stuff in the beginning and then the really good stuff at the end. So I just kind of power through the middle segments.
Are those lesser known wrestlers, perhaps, or are those just lower billings? Of wrestling?
They do this thing where they fire you up and set up the match for the event or something, and then they just kind of cap it off on an exciting point. So I power through that middle shit that's not good, unless somebody, there's a sweet tag match that had an awesome finish I want to watch. But other than that, I'm not going to sit and watch the entire 3-hour show anymore.
It's 3 hours long.
Yeah,
Jesus
and I think
Christ.
that's where they kind of fucked up too, was going to 3 hours.
How long was it before?
It used to be 2.
Why don't I just make a 1 hour show and make it really good?
It's kind of back in the day when actually I used to watch some.
It was like 45 minutes long.
The same thing WCW did.
Yeah.
It went really, really south when they made it 3 hours.
Yeah.
Woman Crush Wednesday.
The problem is they don't spend enough time when it was WWF and it was 2 hours. Every single person on the roster had something to do. They had their own storyline. Now they're doing it to where they put storylines for like the top maybe 3 or 4 people, and then the rest is just wrestling. So when you're an entertainment company based around storytelling and you're just throwing 2 random people in the ring to wrestle, it doesn't make any sense.
Makes no sense. Again, you have a product. People have expectations for your product. You deliver.
Yeah. I mean,
And if
even
you don't deliver, this is what you get.
Like when Daniel Bryan won the title the first time, they stripped it from him the next night.
What?
Yeah, they ran a whole storyline where he paid the ref to do a fast count.
What the
And they took the title from him.
Why are they beating up on this guy, man?
No, I thought that was funny because if you know the politics behind wrestling and Vince liking bigger guys and stuff, it was just funny. So he wins the belt again. But then they take it from him another time for some form of cheating or another.
Because he's not a big dude.
Yeah.
And the expectation is you're watching wrestling, so you need rock-like status constantly. Yeah. Dude, if a guy's good, he's good.
There was a tag team, Edge and Christian. Edge went on and won many world titles and got Hall of Fame status. His tag team partner kind of slowly chugged along and finally got the momentum he needed. He wins the world title and then loses it 2 days later. So they're giving the fans what they want, but not for a period of time.
That's insane to me again.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to give it to someone else, they have to just be better.
Yeah.
But if they're not better, you shouldn't just be handing it. Then what value does being the world champion actually have?
Absolutely.
No value at all.
This day and age, none.
And if they could take it away from you just on some, I mean, again, is it even interesting, the storyline that they just jack this guy's fucking title? They give it to him and then they take it away.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, you're finding out that a lot of the non-title storylines are so much better than the title storylines. I mean, there was one...
Because Vince doesn't have his hands on it, right?
That's true, yeah.
He's like the George Lucas of wrestling.
Essentially, yes.
He just throws Jar Jar in whenever he can.
Nailed it. I mean, they're doing one long story arc now with Sting.
Sting?
Yeah. he was a WCW guy in his entire career, and they finally just got him over in WWE, and he just comes in at random times and interrupts these big important matches that would favor Triple H and his faction. And it's like the most incredible thing ever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this guy's face is familiar to me.
The Crow.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. In the mid-90s, they decided to make him more of a dark figure in WCW because there's this NWO faction that was taking over, and they needed somebody to be the anti-villain, if you will, and that was him.
So they just straight up jacked the Crow's makeup.
Yeah. They dropped him from a ceiling and didn't let him talk for a year. It was his best work.
What? Yeah. Was it a cage match or something he was in that he fell?
No, that was Owen Hart.
Owen Hart.
Yeah, he fell from the rafters. The safety gave out.
And he Barbara Gordon that shit, didn't he? Was he in a wheelchair for a long time? Like
He was dead for a long time.
He died?
Yeah, he smacked his chin off the turnbuckle.
He died.
Yeah, he had this gimmick blue blazer where he was like a superhero in a blue costume, and he was supposed to come down from the rafters, and the safety broke.
He was kind of funny.
Yeah, the safety broke, smacked his face on the turnbuckle, and he was gone.
He died.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wrestling.
yeah.
Fuck.
Fuck.
Did you see that, speaking of some wrestling, just real quick, you see that Mankind Christmas Santa thing?
The Netflix documentary?
Yeah?
Yep.
You know who I was surprised to watched it? Joanna. Watched it. So I'm flicking through and I see recently played, and I see it and I look over and she's like, "That was really good." I'm like, "Are you serious?" Like in and among all these romantic, like Stella got her groove back, and then there's fucking
Santa.
Yeah.
I remember watching that here at the lab, and it was off the recommendation of Jeff's wife, Holly. I was like, yeah, I'll watch this. And I played it, and like one of the first thing you see is like a nude Santa shoot. So I'm doing work on the
Joanna?
computer, and I turn
got your
around,
number
and
now.
there's just this old fat Santa in a bathtub not wearing anything. And I was like, oh, this can't be the right one.
Yeah, I didn't even know that he had that facet of his life. That guy's pretty cool. He's down to earth type of fella. He seems like, you know.
He was either just here or he is at the Comedy Castle this Wednesday.
That guy?
Mick Foley?
Mick Foley?
I thought it was last week. I'm pretty sure.
It's still on the marquee.
Well, Mick Foley, thank you for being Mick Foley, okay? I don't know you personally, but if you listen to the podcast...
January 21st.
Last week?
Yep, sorry, folks.
That's all right. Anybody who's lined up outside of the Comedy Castle right now, you can go home. It's kind of cold out there.
Better luck next year.
Well, thank you for joining us on another adventure on Tales from the Void podcast. We've been your illuminating hosts.
Got really excited about that one. I'm Sean.
I'm Joshy.
And I'm Kevin Spacey. We'd like to give a shout out to our Pittsburgh brethren in NetWaves, the 1UP Cup. Find them on Facebook, Twitter, and their blog at oneup-cup.com. Also, remember to visit our sponsors. We're brought to you by Detroit Grooming. You better visit DetroitGrooming.com because that bitch got renewed. It's gorgeous. You should see the banner.
I think it means redone.
Redid. Redued? R-E-D-E-U-X. We got redued.
We're French now.
Yeah, everything's French. Good luck translating. No, it looks pretty sweet, but it's for all your gentlemanly needs. You find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at Detroit Grooming, and also Cellar Door Soap and Skin. Brandon, I love you. Get your ass clean. Use the soap. Wash your body. Get the dirt off your body. Don't use it on your hands. Use it on your body. Listen to what I'm telling you. Use it in the shower. Get that shit warm. Get that shit smelling real nice in the shower. So visit them at cellardoorsoapskin.com on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram. Cellar Door Soap and Skin. Lastly, don't forget to check us out. You know where we are? Josh, do you know where we are?
Sometimes.
Everywhere. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, on the moon, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. I'm kidding.
Uranus.
We're not on the planets yet. We're just on one, the one that counts, the one where we can breathe.
Jupiter.
Earth.
Oh.
Yeah, so check us out at Tales from the Void. And just like that story, there's a monster at the end of this book. There's a monster at the end of this book, too. This is my last podcast as a host on Tales from the Void. I hope to be back as a guest. It'd be really exciting, but Sean already told me. Sean already told me that he's booked Matthew Broderick for that episode. Yeah. So thank you everybody for listening. And if I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.